Alrighty folks, today we are going to talk about a quick way to test your tape before you play it on your machine if you're buying a used reel of tape. And I'm going to try to do this video really quickly and all in one take, so excuse me if I stumble over my words a few times. You're going to find yourself in the situation if you become a tape head where you're going to be going to garage sale, flea markets, maybe just eBay purchases, where you're going to be getting tape that you don't exactly know the condition of. That could be because it's in a box that's unmarked, or you just bought a box and you have no idea if what the box says is actually the tape is inside. There's a billion different circumstances, and you want to make sure that this tape is good to be used on your machine before you start recording on it. The big thing here, if you're not aware of, is going to be sticky tape syndrome, which we're going to touch upon in a second. And so let's just get straight into it. So I have a couple tapes here. One tape that I know has sticky tape syndrome, so we know there's an issue with this one. This tape is a Reeves Soundcraft tape. It seems to be, based upon the reel in there, to be the original tape, but I have no idea whether or not this tape suffers from sticky tape syndrome, so we're going to test that and we're going to see what results we get. Now, the first thing that I like to do is I will take the tape and I'll simply just stretch it out a little bit. And I want to see how brittle it is. See how brittle that piece of tape was? I barely put any force on this tape and it immediately just snapped. And I've had this happen to me with a lot of older Scotch tapes that I've bought at garage sales, and I went to use them on my machine, and the moment I press stop when I'm fast forwarding or rewinding, and the tape just snaps in half. So that's the first thing you want to do. The second thing you're going to want to do is check for sticky tape syndrome, and there's going to be a few ways to do this. The first and easiest way you're going to find out is you're going to be put it on your machine, press play, and you're going to realize very quickly that the tape is shedding everywhere. And you don't really want to do it this way because you're going to make a mess all over your transport system and all over your tape heads. So I learned a really simple method yesterday. I was with Gene Bohinski, hopefully I pronounced his last name correctly there, who is the owner and operator of ReelToReelWarehouse.com, and he sells used tape. And I actually have a lot of content planned with Gene, and I met with him yesterday, as I just said, and there's going to be more videos in the future specifically about tape and tape formulations and his story and everything in that, so just look forward for that in the future. But anyway, this is a really simple method he showed me yesterday to test whether or not you have sticky tape syndrome, and the method he uses. And in some cases, with some tape, it's going to be really obvious. You're going to touch the tape in some instances, and it's going to be shedding already. But let's say you have a case where it's a tape formulation that has sticky tape syndrome, but not as bad as some of the worst candidates. So we're going to thread it on the machine. And instead of threading everything through the transport system and across the tape heads, we are simply just going to put it in a fast spooling configuration where we're bypassing all the transport. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press rewind. It's going to be fast rewinding, and I'm going to pinch the tape as it's running with my thumb and my index finger. And I'm gonna obviously let the tape keep spinning. I'm not gonna hold it. I'm just gonna put some light pressure on it. On this machine, I have to have this lifter arm activated, or else it won't work. So I don't know how easy it's going to be to see on camera, but I'm getting a lot of tape particles already on my fingers. I'm going to keep going because I expected more to be on my fingers. The first time I did this, there was a lot, and I'm assuming I'm doing it over the same section of tape, and that's why there's not as much. So we'll see what happens now. Okay, this is much better. Now, you could see the binder is actually coming off of the tape. And on the top of my tape head cover, there's a bunch of tape particles that are falling off the tape. So this would immediately tell me, okay, this tape has sticky tape syndrome, and I'm either going to toss it or I'm going to bake it, which is another topic that we're going to do another video with Gene at a further date. But this tape is not going to be good to use as is. So let's try the next tape. So the Reeves Soundcraft. Now this tape is not a back-coated tape as the last back-coated tape was, but sticky tape syndrome can affect both back-coated and non-back-coated tapes. Alright, this time I just snaked the tape around this lifter, so I don't have to keep it held up. So let's do the same test. Let me try fresh fingers. This already feels a lot better. So, there is very little residue on my fingers. Most of it just seems like dirt and not actual tape material. We're going to keep going. And another thing that Gene told me that he does when he sells his tapes is he'll do this finger test for a whole batch of tape, even if it's not sticky tape syndrome, and he'll feel for any inconsistencies, any anomalies in the tape, such as splice points or any foil that is on the tape. And he does this just to make sure that, there's no splice in the tape that he's about to sell, or any spots of the tape that are crumpled up, whatever. He wants to make sure the tape he's selling is fine. And you should also want to do the same of the tape if you're buying from a garage sale. So, I felt no anomalies so far. So, once again, I just did that for the whole tape there, and there's very, very, very little residue on my finger. A lot less than was on my finger with the bad batch of tape. So, that's a really simple and easy method for seeing if your tape is good to put on your machine. And there's going to be some other minor parameters to look for. Always do a visual check, obviously. I've bought in tapes before that you could visibly tell that the tape has issues. And, it's going to be pretty obvious when there's something majorly wrong. And, yeah, hopefully you learned something in this video. Once again, I'm going to have a bunch of videos in the future. Hopefully some long format ones with Gene Bohensky of ReelToReelWarehouse.com, where he sells used tapes. There's going to be a lot of information coming from him, and we're all going to learn a lot, and I'm really excited for that. So please look out for that in the future.
And before we go, I really must mention that I highly recommend Gene's website. This is honestly the best resource online for audio tape. I mean, this guy has put in a lot of work into cataloging all different types of tapes, all different types of brands. He is extremely knowledgeable. There are great tapes for you to buy for extremely reasonable prices. There's a reason why I met up with this guy, because I truly think that this is the best resource online if you're trying to learn about tape. He goes into detail about specific batches, different I mean, I could go on and on. I don't want to make this video too long because, like I said, I have a lot of videos planned for the future with him. But really, I can't recommend this guy's website enough. Okay.
Other than that, I think that is it. I will see you guys next time.
I thought I told you not to sleep in here. And give me that salami. It's tomorrow's dinner.